A cup of coffee, a slice of toast, and perhaps a little fruit can look like a perfectly respectable breakfast. After 65, however, that meal may be sending the body a surprisingly incomplete message. The problem is not that coffee is poisonous or that toast suddenly becomes dangerous on your 65th birthday. The problem is what this familiar breakfast fails to prompt your tissues to do. Most people judge breakfast based on hunger. If their stomach stops rumbling, they assume the meal worked well enough. I evaluate breakfast with a different question in mind. What biological processes did that meal activate? This distinction matters because aging rarely stems from one sudden, catastrophic breakdown. It usually develops from countless small bodily systems receiving signals that are too weak, delayed, or entirely absent. One of these vital signals determines whether your body spends the day safeguarding its functional reserves or slowly depleting them. You won't notice that reserve fading when you look in the mirror at first. You recognize the shift when carrying a grocery bag feels heavier, climbing stairs requires extra focus, or getting up off the floor turns into a deliberate, challenging task. These changes are frequently blamed on aging itself, as if growing older actively drains strength from your body. But age merely rewrites the rules. It does not lock in a fixed outcome. The overlooked question is whether your first meal of the day supplies aging muscles with sufficient information to kickstart repair, or just enough calories to curb hunger pangs. That explains why a breakfast can leave you full, yet remain biologically inactive. It can raise blood sugar and deliver quick energy, yet barely trigger the systems that protect muscle mass. Before we uncover this missing signal, we need to understand how muscle tissue after 65 behaves differently compared to muscle at age 35. Muscle is often misunderstood as purely cosmetic or something only athletes need to develop. In reality, it ranks among the body's largest metabolic organs and one of your most valuable resources as you grow older. It stores glucose following meals, boosts circulation as you walk, shields joints by absorbing impact, and grants you the stability to regain balance before a small stumble turns into a fall. Muscle also holds amino acids, the foundational building blocks your body relies on during illness, injury, or periods where your appetite disappears entirely. This explains why two people of identical age can recover very differently after spending a week confined to bed. One bounces back to normal mobility, while the other finds standing and walking no longer feel effortless. The gap between these outcomes rarely comes down to willpower. It often hinges on how much functional reserve they possessed before the period of inactivity. Aging generally reduces muscle mass, yet the more critical loss is muscular power. The ability to generate force rapidly when you push yourself up from a chair, climb a step over a curb, or walk across slippery ground. Power declines long before standard strength tests show alarming results. Your body may still complete daily movements, yet you have far less room to handle unexpected challenges. This is why I prefer the term functional reserve. It encompasses muscle tissue, nerve activation, balance control, and the energy systems that allow all these elements to work together when daily life demands more than minimal effort. Breakfast carries great importance because every overnight fast creates an extended stretch with no incoming amino acids. Morning offers the first chance to break that fast and supply raw materials for tissue repair. Even so, many older adults eat the least amount of protein at breakfast and consume the majority of their daily protein during dinner. This eating pattern creates a prolonged window where muscles receive almost no building supplies. Young muscle responds strongly to modest increases in amino acid levels. Aging muscle frequently requires a stronger, combined stimulus from protein intake plus physical movement to activate those same repair mechanisms. Scientists refer to this condition as anabolic resistance. The term sounds intimidating, but it simply means the connection between stimulus and bodily response has shifted. Imagine a doorbell that once chimed with a light tap, but now needs firm pressure to ring. The bell isn't broken. The old level of stimulation is no longer adequate. Inside muscle cells, amino acids and physical tension converge on pathways that regulate protein synthesis. One of the most well-studied pathways is the mTORC1 signaling network. Leucine, an essential amino acid, acts as part of this nutritional trigger. It cannot build muscle on its own, yet it alerts your body that essential building materials have arrived. The remaining essential amino acids still need to be present to support the process. A foreman can initiate construction work, yet building halts if supplies never arrive at the site. Physical movement delivers a second critical signal. When muscles contract against meaningful resistance, they communicate to the body which tissues need reinforcement. Protein provides raw materials, and muscle contraction establishes where those materials should be allocated. Combined, they create a powerful incentive for your body to maintain tissues that are actively used. This clarifies why simply consuming extra calories cannot fix the issue. Calories can fill your energy stores without signaling your body which tissues to preserve. It also explains why a small serving of protein may appear nutritious on a nutrition label, yet trigger only a weak response in aging muscle. If this biological breakdown helps you make smarter daily choices, subscribe to Feynman's Body Code and share your age and country in the comments. I'm curious to see how far this educational content has reached. Now, let's look for the first clue right inside your kitchen. Write down everything you ate this morning. Next, estimate how much of it comes from genuine protein sources, separate from bread, cereal, fruit juice, or coffee. Many people realize their breakfast advertises protein far more than it actually contains. A splash of milk and a thin spread of peanut butter sound substantial, yet they often add up to minimal protein. The second clue relates to appetite. Older adults commonly feel less hungry first thing in the morning, so breakfast portions shrink precisely when a strong nutritional signal would benefit them most. The third clue is convenience. Protein-rich foods usually require preparation, opening containers, mixing ingredients, heating, or advanced planning, while toast and coffee can be ready in just 2 minutes. The fourth clue is tradition. Classic breakfast meals were designed to deliver affordable energy for physical labor, not counteract anabolic resistance in a 70-year-old body. None of this means breakfast needs to be enormous. The goal is not forcing food on anyone dealing with nausea or lack of appetite. The aim is to craft a morning meal with clear biological purpose, so every bite delivers valuable nutrients instead of just adding volume. That brings us to the food featured in countless health promises. The egg. Eggs offer meaningful benefits, yet their value goes far beyond simplified marketing slogans. An egg is not some miracle longevity pill. It is a compact source of high-quality protein, essential amino acids, leucine, choline, vitamins, and fat-soluble nutrients. One large egg contains roughly 6 to 7 grams of protein. 2 eggs supply around 12 to 14 grams, which is helpful, yet often falls short of the ideal protein target for an older adult's breakfast. This detail is where countless overblown health claims fall apart. Adding eggs can improve a nutrient-light breakfast, but 2 eggs alone cannot reverse every factor contributing to muscle loss. They will never replace resistance training, sufficient overall food intake, disease management, quality sleep, or the nerve signals needed to activate muscle tissue. Eggs also do not guarantee a longer lifespan. Longevity is shaped by smoking habits, blood pressure, physical activity, illness, genetics, medical care, social connection, and random chance. Still, eggs can form part of a powerful morning nutritional signal when paired with adequate total protein and consistent physical activity. For one person, this could mean eggs paired with Greek yogurt. For another, eggs alongside cottage cheese, beans, fish, tofu, or high-protein milk. The goal is not to worship a single food. It is to assemble enough essential amino acids into a practical meal you can stick with long-term. Whole eggs also contain choline, which supports cell membranes and acetylcholine production. This delivers real biological benefits, yet it still cannot turn any breakfast into a miracle cure. For most people, dietary cholesterol is only one piece of blood cholesterol regulation, though individual responses and medical histories vary widely. If your healthcare provider has created a personalized plan for familial hypercholesterolemia, kidney disease, diabetes, swallowing difficulties, or other chronic conditions, their guidance takes priority over any general breakfast advice. The overlooked daily habit is not merely eating eggs, it is creating a reliable morning signal to support muscle maintenance. Enough high-quality protein followed by gentle physical stress on the muscles you want to protect. Think of this as a 2-part formula. Your meal communicates, building materials are available. Movement communicates, these materials have a purpose. Without enough nutrients, muscle contraction triggers repair requests your body cannot fully fulfill. Without physical exertion, nutrients arrive with little guidance on where tissue reinforcement is needed. This is why the specific food you choose matters less than completing both parts of the signal. Eggs work well, but so do dairy, fish, poultry, soy, legumes, or carefully balanced plant-based food combinations. Protein quality depends partially on essential amino acid content and how easily your body can digest it. Animal proteins and soy generally offer dense nutrition, while many plant-focused meals require larger servings or strategic combinations. Total daily protein intake remains extremely important. Research exploring whether evenly spreading protein across all meals delivers superior outcomes remains inconclusive. Therefore, breakfast should not be framed as some magical metabolic window. Even so, upgrading a low-protein breakfast offers a straightforward way to boost your daily intake without forcing yourself to eat an oversized dinner, especially if your appetite fades as the day goes on. It creates another opportunity to stimulate muscle protein synthesis rather than relying on one evening meal to carry your entire daily protein requirement. Many leading health authorities recommend older adults consume between 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight each day, with higher amounts sometimes advised during illness or structured fitness training under professional supervision. This is a general population guideline, not a personalized medical prescription. Kidney function, body size, appetite, medications, existing illnesses, and overall calorie needs all shift your ideal protein amount. A practical starting target for a single meal, often discussed for seniors, sits around 25 to 35 grams of high-quality protein. Still, the exact amount depends on your body size and what you eat throughout the rest of the day. A smaller person eating 3 balanced meals and a larger individual recovering from illness cannot follow identical protein targets as if every body works the same way. The simplest strategy is to build your breakfast around a core protein source, then add other foods around it. 2 eggs serve as a solid starting point. Adding a serving of Greek yogurt pushes that meal much closer to hitting a robust protein target. Alternatively, pair 1 or 2 eggs with cottage cheese, high-protein milk, or leftover fish or chicken if you prefer savory breakfasts. A plant-focused option could be scrambled tofu with soy milk, or beans matched with complementary protein sources in portions large enough to supply all required essential amino acids. Oatmeal is nutritious, yet standard oatmeal on its own rarely provides a strong protein foundation. It transforms into a balanced meal when prepared using high-protein milk, yogurt, or another intentional protein source. Peanut butter adds some protein, yet its calorie count rises far faster than its protein content. It works best as a supporting ingredient instead of your primary protein source. Nutrition labels can be a helpful tool. Check the grams of protein per serving, then verify whether the listed serving size matches how much you normally eat. This quick calculation delivers far more clarity than vague marketing terms such as healthy, natural, fortified, or high energy. The second half of this signal does not require an early morning gym session. It calls for gentle, safe muscular effort intense enough to activate muscle tissue. For some people, 5 controlled chair stands after breakfast create a meaningful starting point. For others, wall push-ups, supported calf raises, or carrying groceries later that morning work perfectly. Your chosen movement must match your balance capability, joint health, heart condition, and current fitness level. Stop activity and seek professional guidance if you experience pain, dizziness, chest tightness, or unusual shortness of breath. A leisurely walk greatly benefits circulation and blood sugar management. However, walking does not challenge every major muscle group with sufficient force. That is why health experts consistently advise older adults to include strength training alongside regular aerobic activity. Mechanical tension makes muscle tissue far more responsive to amino acids. Put simply, consistent use tells your body this muscle tissue is valuable and worth maintaining. Unused tissue requires energy to sustain. Your body constantly weighs what it needs to preserve today against what resources it can afford to keep for the future. Small, repeated physical challenges shift this balance. They train your nervous system and give muscles a reason to retain contractile tissue. The best exercise routine is not the most impressive one. It is activity that remains safe, gradually increases in difficulty, and happens frequently enough for your body to recognize the pattern. Protein intake and physical movement function like a supply delivery and a work order arriving close enough in time to support the same tissue repair cycle. Now the bigger picture becomes clear. Protecting muscle mass does more than preserve how your arms and legs look. After eating, skeletal muscle acts as a primary destination for glucose. Well-functioning muscle creates more surface area for insulin to move sugar out of your bloodstream. This does not turn muscle into a diabetes cure, yet it explains why strength training and adequate protein support metabolic wellness. Muscle contractions also boost venous blood flow, particularly in the legs. Your calf works like a natural pump, pushing blood upward against gravity. Strong muscles in your hips and legs supply braking power when your body loses balance. They buy precious time for your brain and balance organs to correct your posture before a fall occurs. Muscle tissue safeguards bones by creating healthy mechanical load. Bone strengthens in response to physical demand, so a skeleton that experiences almost no activity receives no signal to maintain density. Sufficient strength also shapes daily behavior. People who feel confident in their leg strength are more likely to leave their homes, carry items, visit friends, and stay socially active. This positive feedback loop matters deeply. Movement maintains physical capacity, and greater capacity makes consistent movement easier. The reverse cycle is equally real. Weakness leads you to avoid activity, limited movement reduces physical demand, and lowered demand speeds up muscle loss. Establishing a meaningful breakfast routine matters because it reinforces this positive cycle every single morning before motivation and appetite dwindle later in the day. Many people overlook this nutritional signal due to weight loss goals. Numerous older adults cut breakfast first, viewing it as an easy way to reduce calories. The scale may show weight loss, yet weight measurements cannot distinguish whether lost mass comes from fat, water, or muscle. During periods of calorie restriction, insufficient protein and lack of resistance training make it far easier to lose lean muscle alongside fat. This can leave you with a smaller body, reduced strength, weaker blood sugar regulation, and a smaller physical reserve to draw on during illness. After 65, weight loss is rarely the top priority at all costs. The objective is improving body composition while protecting physical function. A protein-focused breakfast supports healthy fullness, but its greatest value is integrating muscle protection into your weight management plan. Physical activity remains equally vital because it signals your body not to break down muscle tissue for energy. Unplanned rapid weight loss is a separate situation entirely. It can signal underlying illness, medication side effects, depression, dental issues, or struggles shopping for and preparing meals. If you are losing weight unintentionally, simply eating more eggs will not solve the problem. The root cause needs proper medical evaluation. This is a recurring core lesson. Any health habit only works if it targets the correct bodily systems and the person following it has medical clearance to implement changes. You can test this strategy practically without expecting permanent, decades-long results overnight. Try a 7-day personal experiment. On day 1, log your regular breakfast, estimate its protein content, and note how easily you stand up from a chair before lunch. Also track hunger levels around 10 or 11 a.m., energy stability, and cravings for sweet snacks before midday. For the following 6 mornings, build your breakfast around a protein source suited to your health status and appetite. Aim for a substantial serving of protein instead of just a tiny garnish. Use nutrition labels and simple math rather than judging portion quality by appearance alone. Follow your meal with brief, safe strength work. Chair stands, wall push-ups, calf raises, resistance band exercises, or other movements cleared by your doctor. Try to keep the rest of your morning schedule consistent. Your experiment results will be hard to interpret if you change breakfast, sleep patterns, medication timing, and daily activity all at once. On day 7, compare your hunger levels, physical steadiness, ease of rising from a chair, and your total daily protein intake. Do not expect visible new muscle growth within 1 week. Early progress will show whether this routine is sustainable, tolerable, and capable of improving the bodily signals you can control. Meaningful long-term improvements in strength and body composition require consistent weeks of progressive training, adequate calories, and proper recovery. The first common mistake is adding extra protein without evaluating your overall daily intake. Drinking a protein shake on top of an already balanced diet only adds excess calories without fixing the core problem. The second mistake is relying on collagen as your primary muscle-building protein. Collagen offers other health benefits, yet it lacks sufficient essential amino acids to effectively trigger muscle protein synthesis. The third mistake is treating protein consumption as a replacement for exercise. Nutrition cannot replicate the mechanical stimulation created by muscle contraction. The fourth mistake is turning breakfast into a competition where more protein is always better. This is especially risky if you face limits due to kidney function, poor appetite, or restricted calorie intake. The fifth mistake is overhauling every eating habit all at once. Overly complicated routines usually fall apart before your body can experience biological benefits. The sixth mistake is ignoring chewing or swallowing difficulties. Soft eggs, yogurt, cottage cheese, tofu, or approved nutritional drinks can deliver protein much more comfortably. The seventh mistake is assuming expensive protein powder is mandatory. Regular whole foods can create the necessary nutritional signal perfectly well. The eighth mistake is copying portion sizes from another person online. Body size, health conditions, medications, activity levels, and personal goals cannot be copied from a photograph. The ninth mistake is only tracking weight on the scale instead of monitoring physical function. Pay attention to how easily you rise from a chair, how confident you feel climbing stairs, how much you can carry, walking speed, and how quickly you recover after exertion. The 10th mistake is expecting one single food to counteract smoking, sedentary living, uncontrolled high blood pressure, poor sleep, or lack of proper medical care. An effective breakfast framework includes 4 components: a core protein source, plant-based foods, enough calories to match your energy requirements, and a brief physical activity reminder. Your protein foundation could be eggs paired with yogurt, cottage cheese and fruit, tofu and beans, fish served with whole grain toast, or another combination aligned with your food preferences and cultural habits. Plant ingredients supply fiber, potassium, polyphenols, and extra volume. This can include berries, vegetables, beans, oats, or whole fruits. Energy needs vary widely. A frail older adult working to regain healthy weight should not copy the breakfast of someone aiming to reduce body fat. Attach your physical activity reminder to an existing daily routine. After washing your breakfast plate, before pouring your second cup of coffee, or once the morning news segment wraps up. Linking new habits to established routines makes consistency far easier, since human memory is unreliable. Gradually increase the difficulty of your movements, add extra repetitions, improve form and control, increase resistance, or try a slightly harder variation once your current exercise feels effortless. Never push through pain. Healthy muscle fatigue and sharp joint discomfort are very different sensations. Persistent pain means you need to adjust your routine. Reassess your breakfast plan every few weeks. Appetite, weight, activity levels, and medical conditions shift over time, so your ideal meal composition may need adjustments too. The best nutrition plan is not the one that looks most impressive on paper. It is the routine that delivers the necessary biological signals and fits seamlessly into everyday life. Now we can revisit those bold health claims we started with. No credible scientist can examine one breakfast and predict an additional 30 years of lifespan. What research can confirm is far more practical. Small daily choices shape your physical reserves, which determine how well you cope with illness, injury, falls, and periods of forced inactivity. Strong functional reserves cannot grant immortality, but they expand your body's ability to cope when health challenges arise. Protein intake is one critical factor. Regular strength training is another. Controlling blood pressure, avoiding tobacco, staying up to date on vaccinations, prioritizing sleep, nurturing social connections, and consistent medical care all form part of the full longevity picture. The breakfast signal carries great power simply because it happens every single day. A choice repeated each morning creates hundreds of opportunities annually to either support or deplete your muscle tissue. That consistent repetition is where nutrition creates tangible biological change. Your body does not respond to catchy marketing slogans. It responds to ongoing, repeated signals. Skipping one nutrient-rich breakfast creates no lasting harm, but missing this vital stimulus most mornings for years can slowly erode the physical reserves you rely on. Similarly, one well-balanced breakfast cannot reverse decades of muscle loss, but it can mark the start of a healthier, long-term pattern. This is why I never simplify the advice down to just eat eggs and live longer. The meaningful lesson is to stop letting your first meal of the day be metabolically empty. Select foods that complete your body's repair signal, then give your muscles a reason to use those nutrients. Tomorrow morning, look at that same mug, that same plate, and your usual routine with a new question to consider. What am I asking my body to preserve? If the only answer is staying awake and quieting hunger, your meal sends an incomplete message. Build a solid protein foundation, add gentle, safe muscle activity, keep your new routine simple enough to maintain, and judge your success based on improved physical function rather than unrealistic fantasies. The rewards include steady energy, better appetite regulation, preserved strength, and a daily routine that supports your health for the rest of the day. Eggs can be part of that breakfast. They may even be the simplest starting point, yet the complete biological signal is what truly matters. Your body does not track trendy superfoods. It tracks amino acids, muscle contractions, recovery cycles, and consistent repetition. After turning 65, your body requires clearer signals than it did when you were younger. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply an updated operating manual for your body. Supply nutrients without a physical demand, and your body's repair response stays incomplete. Demand muscle effort without supplying building materials, and tissue repair remains limited. Combine both elements consistently, and breakfast transforms from merely stopping hunger into daily protection for your functional reserves. That reserve does not guarantee extra decades of life. It offers something more valuable, a practical way to safeguard your strength, independence, and personal choices for whatever years lie ahead.